Game started.
All right, boying palike. Okay, don't know what that means. Let's try d4. Okay, we've got a Queen's Gambit, a Slav defense, and all very standard so far. The triangle setup, okay. The Semi-Slav, rather. So I play the bishop out, and I allow the Moran variation where black takes and then kicks the bishop with b5. But he didn't play that. He just played a6 immediately. Okay, let's castle. And now he goes for b5. So I don't want a position that's totally locked up. So let's take here and see which way he takes back. He can take with the a pawn or the c pawn. So since he took with the a pawn, he's got a bit of a backwards c pawn. And I have a weakness on my a pawn. So I play that, just so I don't have to always defend the a pawn. And then in this kind of structure, you always look for sacrifices on b5 here. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, or bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, to see if there's any big threat there. But I don't see it. Don't see anything happening there. So let's just develop a few pieces. Put the rook on the c file. Get some indirect pressure on c6. Now he's threatening to harass me on h2. So if he plays knight to g5, for example, knight g4, I could play h3, and then he could actually come in here with the knight, which might be a little annoying. Maybe not, but let's just prevent that. And I was thinking about knight to e5, but it looks like he's stopped that. So let's bring the other knight around somewhere useful. So knight here to f4 maybe. On f4, bishop takes, pawn takes is possible. And then I have a strong point on e5. So let's try knight f4. What else can he play? He could play g4. But maybe doesn't want to play that. He could play e5, and my plan was just to take that. Okay, so now he is eyeing the b7 pawn, b2 pawn there. I can take on b5 with the bishop because of the pen. But then he takes here and maybe gets that pawn too. So I think it's more important to defend the b pawn here. And again, he can take my knight. That'll double my f pawns. It's not as good as it was before. Okay, so the knight has no great squares. It's just got to return.
Check.
And that check I'm not afraid of. It's just a check unless he can get a knight. Unless he can get a knight to f2. I've been checkmated that way, actually. Bishop here check and knight f2 when I left this f2 pawn undefended in a game. Very embarrassing. Okay, so now I can take this pawn. He's got nothing else going on. It's not necessarily a great pawn because he can get pressure on the b file. This is a weak pawn over here, so it's not a huge accomplishment, but well, it's something. So now bishop takes, queen c1. He can defend the bishop. So let's pile up this way, threatening to take on c6. Okay, bishop takes, and it's pinned, and I can jump in with the knight. And that should be good enough to get the piece back. So I got a piece and 2 pawns up. So 2 pawns are actually worth something now. And his remaining pawn over here is kind of weak. Well, it's isolated. It's well defended at the moment. Maybe I shouldn't call it weak. It is maybe a problem. So let's grab this guy here while I can. He can take the bishop, and I will have to take back with the queen. But the queen still cannot take my knight, because I'll just take it, and it's a more valuable piece. If the pieces were in a different order, if he had the queen behind and the rook in front, then he could have grabbed the knight. So in this position, I can just retreat the knight. So yes, I got my piece back. And I am still 2 pawns up, so this should be good. So I think the plan is just to advance the pawns on the queen side, but he also left himself open for a tactic, a knight f5, forking those 2 guys, and he can't pin the knight. He could attack my queen, but not really. So let's just go for that. It'll just be simpler without with fewer pieces on the board. The extra pawns will just push through more easily. And of course he can't checkmate me without the bishop, which is nice. So now I can start pushing these pawns. Oh, that's a good move. It hits the pawn and it hits the rook. So good example of why you can't relax in a blitz game, even when you're winning. And now I have to worry about the back rank. If this h2 square is ever covered by the queen, a queen on this diagonal and a rook here would be checkmating. I don't have to worry about that pawn though so much. But I don't want to allow his pieces on the back rank. So what should I do? Queen I guess queen here, queen d1. So he takes on f2, I assume.
Check.
Oh, he just gets the material off. This makes things much easier for me. Contrary to opinion, not all rook and pawn endings are drawn, especially when you have 2 pawns that are connected and passed.
Check.
Okay. Now let's see. So he's going to try and win a pawn. Okay. He actually can't take back. So rook takes, rook takes. He can't take with the king because the other pawn marches forward. He can go there. Let's see. Now, let's stop the check first. Then let's march up and harass these pawns. See, now those pieces are tied up.
Draw offered.
It's his turn to move, so I can't ignore that. says, use draw to accept. The offer is valid until you make a move, but it wasn't my turn to move. It's pretty funny that he thinks this is a draw. Or maybe he's just making a joke, who knows. But it's not going to be long now. Now, what's the best way? I guess I could try coming over this way. King here would kind of run him out of moves. So, let's see what he does.
Check.
King has no moves. The rook has a move. That's true.
Draw offered.
No, it's not a draw. Okay, well, this is getting easier. Unless I manage to checkmate myself in some way. Somehow. This was not played in the most precise way. Somehow. But I'm about to get a queen. He could try and checkmate me. He just needs to get a rook over here on the back rank somewhere. But he can't do that with his pawn in the way. So I guess I will get to checkmate him first. Of course, I could start harassing his king from behind too, so I don't have to allow myself to be checkmated. Aha, just there. So how about let's get a knight.
Check.
That forks the king and the rook.
Black resigns.
Okay, so I don't think I played that in the most precise way. I will take a look at that in the postmortem and see how I could have finished that a little smoother. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. See you again soon. Bye.